know where the treats at.
Is this the passing of the torch, right? Is this what this signifies?
It comes down to that front office and what they feel is most important.
The champ is here. We've touched down from a higher plane. Why you landed here?
We always look forward to that week because it was always intense.
You know that we ain't coming back. We about to.
The man, the myth, the legend, Dante Hall. My favorite player growing up was Dante Hall. I love you guys in the show, but Dante was my guy.
Get to dashing because you done on the warfield.
This episode of Chief Concerns is brought to you by BetOnline.AG. Our partners at BetOnline continue to be the number one source for all your betting needs and sports info. Find all the latest sports developments, including updated odds on the NBA playoffs, fights, and even next season futures. And don't forget that the MLB is back as well. So who are you picking to win the World Series? Royals, of course, but we'll see how that goes. BetOnline is your continued source for all your sports wagering needs, including live betting and your favorite Vegas casino and poker games. It's super easy to get started, so head to the website today or use your mobile device to join and use our promo code, that's BELIEVE, BLEAV, to receive your 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. BetOnline, where the game starts. Hey there, Marcus Dash here, co-host of Chief Concerns. At the conclusion of this episode, please make sure to like and subscribe to our podcast right here on YouTube. And for all you listeners out there, please be sure to give us a 5-star review on any of the platforms you use to listen to us. I want to thank you all for listening to us throughout the season, and we look forward to engaging with you all throughout the offseason. Enjoy the episode. Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Chief Concerns. I'm here with our guy, former tight end Jason Dunn. JD, how you doing, buddy?
What's up, my brother? How's it going? How you doing?
Can't complain, man. NBA playoffs start. Well, the playing games have already started, but NBA playoffs start on Saturday. So Sixers got the Raptors. So kind of days to that, and hopefully I can see my other sports team go to a championship. That'd be nice to have Chiefs and then the Sixers a couple years later. So that'd be that's what I'm praying for. So we'll see.
Yeah.
How are things going with you? I see you're wearing the Royals cap. You're ready for baseball?
Wearing the Royals cap. This is just it's kind of opening up the season, with the guys, with the Royals coming out. I kind of figured I'd put my hat on, man, show support. And the thing is, of course, when I was out there, I was a big, Sweeney fan, all those guys, because we all played, around the same time. And, all those guys, those guys on the other sports. But, I still got love for KC. Matter of fact, one of my good friends here actually was a farm team of the Royals. Wow. I think he ended up being with the Astros. So he ended up winning the World Series with the Royals and then with the Astros. So wow. He switched up. So I was like, man, that's beautiful. So he had a chance to go out and enjoy Kansas City, go to the whole the ceremony and whatnot, and he really enjoyed it. So hats off to the Royals. Matter of fact, I plan on being out there next month to come out there for a game, hopefully. And nice. Maybe an ambassador weekend, getting out there and enjoying the Royals, man. So I'm gonna bring this beautiful blue hat, royal blue, out that way, man. So
nice. Yeah, have a hot dog and some Cracker Jacks or something.
Yeah. I got too old. Stay away from hot dogs. All right. You don't know what's in that meat. Shoot.
It's true. It's true. And then nothing worse than going to a baseball game and having hot dog breath and hot dog burp.
Bad memories.
Yeah, no, seriously. Especially taking a date to a baseball game and coming out as you're talking. It's oh man, try to blow it away.
Right.
But yeah, no, a lot of stuff to get into this week. We've noticed on the YouTube channel and in our tweets, there's been a lot of you guys are concerned about Mecole Hardman not going to the Texas camp. So we're going to begin our first concern tonight with that. So last week we talked about the show about all the pass catchers going to Texas with Mahomes. We highlighted the absence of Mecole Hardman and Travis Kelce because those were the hot topic names last week that weren't there. Obviously, Kelce has rapport with Mahomes. No one was worried about that. But Hardman wasn't there, at least the start of it, based on the photos and the pictures and all the stuff we saw from the camp. But Hardman and Kelce did show up. and along with MVS and Dieter, all the guys who weren't there last week did show up eventually. And basically the entire assortment of guys were there. So Jason, what do you got to say about Mecole, Hardman, and Kelce joining the other guys? And what do you say to the fans who are dogging on Hardman for not being down there initially?
Hey, man, beautiful. Hats off to him. These are guys who want to get better. These are guys, like I said before, are professionals. And so as a professional, you develop. And it's the same thing, like when you first get into the league, maybe you don't understand as far as like what it takes to become better. And sometimes that dedication. And it's easy for us to put blame and speculate what a guy's doing with his time, right? Well, he's not over here, where he's not doing. Listen, we got to understand that, we're regular guys, okay? We have families just like everybody else. And so I know everybody's like, well, he had the whole winter off. Look, he just got finished. If you think about it, about a month or so ago. So you're trying to get your body to heal. You're working on your mental stability. You just want to, and like I said, I'm a big person that believes that sometimes you just got to get away from the game. You don't want to overtrain. Sometimes it's just getting that break, right? To refresh and everything that you need to. And so if you could get together before camp starts or the OTAs and before the draft, then fine. But like I said, I didn't want to look too much into it because I understand. I get it. I get it. Look, we have families, we have obligations. There's things that we've already committed to. And sometimes when something comes up, it's like, hey, you know what? This guy got to be here. Somebody who's like, this, he's not over here. He's not doing this. He's not trying to get better. I just don't buy into it. And not saying that can't happen. And not saying that, Mecole wasn't, at prior camps or whatever, guys getting together. But the thing is, he's here now, him and Travis both. And so I think that shows dedication on their part, saying like, look, you know what? Let's get up here and catch up with the guys. Hey, Pat, I'm not able to get here right now, but I tell you what, here's my schedule. You still throwing? You're going to be out here, maybe Thursday, Friday, whatever the day is. Hey, I'll be there. And that's why I said the next session they have, they're going to be there. And so that's promising. And I think that's how it should be. So I try not to put too much stake into, looking at a guy about what he's doing with his time. That's the reality. It's his time. But we want to make sure that during what he's doing with his time is getting better. So even if he's not with those guys getting better, hopefully he's over here and he's working out, he's running routes, he's doing everything that he needs to do to still get his body in shape, his mind in shape, and his spirit in shape. And so I think that's just one of those things that we can criticize, but we don't quite know. We don't quite know. So good for him showing up, man. And I've seen not just Mecole was there, but like you said, Travis, and also MVS. I seen, Scantman was there. So hey, these guys are rolling. I think they understand. They understand. This is what you have to have in the room. This is part of the dedication. Everybody's got to be on the same page. Why not start to try to get that report, everything right now? So I get it why people say those things, but hey, look, man, we got normal lives like everybody else too.
Yeah, 100%. We talked about it last week about, normal people go on vacation, take their PTO, their pay time off. This is the off season, and I know it is the NFL and you guys get paid millions, but like people need time off. If people need time away from it, they're going to get burnt out. They're going to hate their job just like normal people,
Right. Yeah.
Actually, I saw a funny a tweet today. I think I might send it to you, but it was Baker Mayfield was on a podcast and he was talking about, because I wish I could go to some people's normal people's cubicles and like and say that you suck to them and say bad things to them like they say to us. I thought it was pretty funny.
Yeah.
But having Hardman there, because like we talk about like obviously Josh Gordon was on the team last year, but he was only for a couple games, right? He was a newbie. Mecole Hardman is the most senior, the most veteran receiver we have now. And to the new guys who are at this camp, having Hardman there, and actually one of the videos that Mahomes posted on his page, you actually see Kelce talking to Corey Coleman, and it was a quick cut because it was a 45-second video, but you see him like telling him like he's obviously talking about route running with him. Having that veteran presence there from Hardman and Kelce, who were both guys who have been in this offense. How big of a deal is that for these guys who are there right now?
Well, I mean, it's huge. And like you said, veteran in the sense of like being in this system, right? Being at the Chiefs, understanding how everything operates, how it works, terminology, what they're expecting out of you, running routes, finding windows and holes. That's huge. And so what it does is when you have guys that's experienced, what they're doing is just kind of giving you knowledge and information that you can utilize. So now all of a sudden the turnaround as far as getting ready, getting prepared into what you need to do as soon as camp rolls, you kind of understand it. You know what the coaches are expecting out of you. And so, hey, with those guys there, they like, look, when we run this route, there's a couple plays that we run like this. This is what they're looking for out of this route. And so where you may run, 10 to 12 yards or whatever route, we'll just say, come back, whatever you want to do. This is how we kind of do it, and this is how they teach it. And so when you hear the coaches, this is what the coaches are thinking. This is what they're expecting. This is what they want to see. And so it helps a guy out who's coming from different systems, different terminologies. It's like, oh, okay, I get you. So like I said, nobody wants to be robotic. You want to be a player, but you want to put your spin on it. You want to use your athleticism. You want to be able to be, Corey Coleman or MVS or Josh Gordon within the system of what they do. And so it's one thing to be able to run a route, but you got to be able to run the route at the way Mecole Hardman runs his route the best. Josh Gordon runs the route his best. Juju run the route his best. And so that's how it works. And especially, with 15 still on the ball, he's going to tell you, look, this is how I'm looking. And I've seen him also too, kind of giving direction on maybe the flight of the ball, or, a lot of it is kind of like angles. And so sometimes when you might run a corner route, guys are looking for, deeper routes and maybe put it on me right here in this zone, in this coverage. And so it's kind of like what they're talking about. So he's learning these guys, the integral parts of them, right? Tendencies. And that's a beautiful thing. This offense, man, is going to, I'm telling you, with these guys getting together and getting a jump on it, it's just so encouraging to me that I see that they got a mind to make sure that they're not going to falter, because we lost a huge weapon in Tyreek Hill, right? And they're like, look, we got to be able to step up, and we got to make sure that everybody is pulling their weight in here, right? So we can't slough off. We can't say, hey, well, hey, look, we lost Tyreek Hill. We're going to be better in 2 or 3 years after we get a guy here. No, we got guys here now. We need to go ahead and produce now. Day one, we're out here rolling. And so that's like I said, that's professional. That's how these guys are supposed to do it. So I love the veteran presence with those guys coming in. So, and plus, like I said, with Juju and MVS playing with Aaron Rodgers, Big Ben, look, they already know. They know what they need to do, So it's just instruction now. That's it.
Yeah, no, it's and having those guys there, and also like, if you look at this team for the last 4 years, right? The biggest vocal leader was Tyrann Mathieu. And we had, and now Kelce, Kelce's always been a leader on the team, but now he's probably going to take him, and Mahomes are going to take even more of more of that vocal leader without a guy like Tyrann Mathieu. And it's good to have them doing off-season workouts with the new pass catchers. And that also takes us a segue into our next topic, which is Tyrann Mathieu, who is no longer with the team anymore. But last week, he did an interview with the Kansas City Stars, Sam McDowell, where he revealed that he was really heartbroken to leave Kansas City and not be offered the contract that we offered Justin Reed. But there have been some Chief fans on Twitter didn't really like some of his answers. Mainly to say, he said his heart really wasn't in it last year when he knew that it was pretty much like he wasn't going to be coming back next year, and it really impacted his play. And playing without the emotion that he usually has, that fun juice that he had. He says he didn't really have it when he knew the kind of writing was on the wall that he wouldn't be coming back to Kansas City, which is sad, because in this day and age, you don't really see it where like players really love a city, right? Where like they want to be there. And he said as a kid, he doesn't want to move anymore. And you play the league, so you know all about this stuff. So being a former NFL player and a Chiefs player specifically, what did you take away from Tyrann Mathieu and this interview?
Man, to be honest, I read the article, and I heard a lot of kind of the criticism about him. And there was one person on Twitter had said something about like, should we give him a pass, or why are we giving him a pass? And, immediately I went to the article just to see what was going on, what was being said. And so after reading the article, I actually became an even bigger fan of Tyrann Mathieu. I mean, for real, just for the simple fact that sometimes you don't quite get to understand the depth of a player and what these things mean. And so kind of where he is with this whole thing, like after reading it, going through it and digesting it all, I'm sitting there thinking like, man, I know exactly how he feels. And so it probably hit home to me because there's a lot of athletes, a lot of players that feel this way for whatever reason at different times, right? Especially in contract year. And this is the whole part of the NFL business. That's the business aspect. And the thing is, he's a guy that wears his emotion on his sleeves. He goes out there and he gives it his all. And so I know people were kind of being critical of it, but here's the thing. Like I'm reading an article and he was just talking about, what was lost was maybe the seasoning, the flavor of the winning and all of that, because he has so much on his mind thinking about, the contract, being in limbo about where am I going to be? What am I going to do? Right? I want to get this contract done because I want to be here. And I got to get out here on the field and I got to smile. I got to motivate guys. I got to do all these different things, right? But also, too, I got to think about, his interests because Chiefs are thinking about theirs. And so, I don't know as far as like the contract negotiations, everything, none of us really do. We just know that it didn't really work out like they wanted to. And look, not saying either party is right or wrong in this, right? I'm not saying the Chiefs are wrong or he's wrong. But I think we got to be able to afford him some amount of grace because this is the reason why when we talk about trust and loyalty and honesty, these things mean something. We're talking about virtues and how these things, how we feel about them. And look, he was just saying that part of his thing that his passion, his heart was waning. He still wanted to win. He didn't abandon not one player out there on the field. He didn't take really like no play off, right? He might be measuring certain things, but his makeup, he's not built like that. He's not built to just quit on his team and just fail on guys. That's not who he is. And you could just tell that because of what he's been throughout his career and what he shows all the time. And we know he works hard all the time. The thing is, it's just like any other relationship is the way I look at it. Sometimes when you're not appreciated, you don't feel appreciated. And I think it's where he was kind of going through. He was like, some of the criticism, right, that he ended up falling into, with, some people on Twitter and whatnot and being critical of some of his play and things he was saying and just, saying that fans were toxic and whatnot. Right. Look, he should have never got into that beef at all. OK, but here's a guy who is passionate, wears his heart, like I said, his heart on his sleeve. And he's voicing his opinion because he's just like, look, man, I'm out here trying to get my all. I'm trying to win. I want to be here. I'm dedicated. I got my foundation, all, stamped and etched into the city. I'm doing things here because this is my home. This is where I want to be. And he talked about his son was taking it hard because, obviously when you bring your families in, you definitely plant yourself in the community. That's what ends up happening. And so, man, I felt for the guy and I became a bigger fan. Look, I've always been a bigger fan because he's just a great player in itself, right? But I was a bigger fan now of the man in itself, right? Because the thing is, this thing has so many layers to it. People have so many layers. They really do. And it doesn't matter if it's his life or somebody who's watching this program. Everybody has layers to their life. It is not necessarily black and white in these days. There's a lot of nuance into how these things work out. And especially in the NFL business, everything is not necessarily hunky-dory. Let me put it that way, right? And that's the bad part of the business because sometimes they got to go in their own interests. They got to do the interests of the organization. He's got to do the interests of his family. I get it. And sometimes those things don't work out. But to me, it's almost liking it to a relationship, right? And we've always, all of us, I'm sure, has been on either the receiving end or the giving end of being in a relationship that maybe lasts too long or it's over, right? But the other person might be dedicated and loyal to like, hey, man, everything is going great. And the The grapes don't turn real sour, right? The love ain't in the air anymore. That relationship is not what it used to be. And so sometimes you don't realize, like, well, how come this person's not loving me anymore like they should? I'm still doing the same thing, and that person's ready to move on. That's how I look at it. It was like a relationship. It really was. And so that's why he was so heartbroken. So when you're using words like this, like heartbroken and whatnot, that's when people feel like they were lied to, they were deceived, they were felt like I said, no loyalty to him for the things that he did. And so I felt for the guy. I know I said a whole lot, but I know exactly how he feels because I've been in the business. I played it for 12 years, and you had to separate yourself from the business because sometimes it's just a hard pill to swallow, right? And I think what he said in the article, he was talking about Justin Reed getting the contract, and he said, "Man, if they offered that to me, I would have taken it." He said, "I probably would have taken it." And I was just sitting there like, wow. And he meant that. Now, look, at the time, there's going to be negotiations. Everybody's going to talk about certain things, and hey, this is where we need to be. I get that part of it, right? And so at a certain point, sometimes parties shake hands. Hey, we got to move on. Appreciate it. We're going this other way. And that's the NFL business, man. That's how this thing works. Sometimes it's sucky but that's how it is.
I guess for me, just reading that article and stuff, I feel like, we on the show, we always talk about how it's a business. That's the NFL. It's a business, right?
Yeah.
Do we expect the, players to, I guess as fans, you can read on Twitter and such, but do we as fans expect like players just to kind of be able to just move on and understand that's a business, be able to move on and just go? I think fans kind of take it for granted that, they think players are just gonna be able to just move on and that's it, just go to the next place and not really have like this feeling or attachment. I think it's where a lot of where it comes from. So like as seeing fans, like, oh, that's it, move on to the next person. It's like for, we talk about like people working in cubicles and players going there and talking crap to them. Yeah. A lot of what goes on with these free agency and the contract negotiations is essentially a person's job, essentially, being let go from your job, but in a public forum.
Right.
People are let go from their job. They have a hard time telling their folks or anyone about, I got let go. People avoid going to dinners or going out and functions because they don't want to talk about their job situation. But this is that, but on a grand scale, on a public stage, and I think we forget that sometimes.
And we do. And the simple fact, because we look at these players as icons, we might put them on a pedestal, and we just look at them as just that, just as a football player. What I talked about, we have layers. We're all human, okay? And we have feelings like everybody else. And I get, look, hey man, you're making all this money. Hey, suck it up and do it. I get that part of it, and he gets that part of it. But also too, we got to realize these things are pressures, and these things are real things in our lives that we have to deal with. And so that's why, to me, I'm one of those. I told my son that I think what part of what gives me reinforcement is, one, my faith. Okay. And I see Tyrann, he's doing the same thing. His faith reinforces it because he's always thanking God for those things. And I'm like, man, that's beautiful, because that's what it is. He understands, even in the hard times, he knows God's got his back. God had brought him a long way. He knows he's been blessed, right? And sometimes what we do is, because we become critical, and like Baker's like, hey, I wish I came to a cubicle. And I heard somebody was like, well, shoot, let me get all the money you making, and you could come to my cubicle all day and yell at me. Well, sure, there's somebody, if you're feeding into all the criticism and whatnot and the noise, because that's what it's a lot of noise. And so it distracts you. And like you said, if that relationship is evaporating in front of everybody, that's not a good place to be. We can look at it like the past couple of weeks. We could talk about the evaporation of relationships in Hollywood. Man, when we talked about like how talking about Dwayne Haskins, how it just seemed like there was no compassion or empathy talking about this guy, right? That we wanted to bring out the worst thing that he possibly did. Well, I heard other people, they told him the truth. Yeah, but look, how about putting some grace on this thing? Man, the man just lost his life, and the thing that Gil said, and kudos to him coming in and apologizing, right? And Adam too apologizing, because it just seemed like it was heartless in a sense, right? Like, you're just this object. And then, look, nobody wants to be objectified. Nobody, and sometimes people are like, I don't care to be objectified and stuff like that. But look, these guys still care about the people. They want to win for the city. They want to win for the people around them. Like, we enjoy the fans. We enjoy seeing their faces. We enjoy seeing the joy in their faces and bringing them happiness. You know, to us, like, we embody that, you know, because it's like, man, I can make somebody feel good because of it. If somebody tells me that they had a hard time and, you know, because watching me or something like that brings them a hard time, to me, I'm in a position, I feel, of just privilege. And I love that I'm able to be that, right? But also, too, you know, on the other side of it, hey, these guys take a lot of things on. And, yeah, they make the big bucks. Cool. I get that part of it. But, look, the man just wanted to be here. It didn't work. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, he ain't a robot. So he's a guy that got feelings. Yeah, tuck your feelings away. Yeah, he tucked his feelings away. But sometimes what you love him for is the passion. And sometimes that passion comes back to bite you because you love him for all the things that he gives you. But sometimes him having that passion may be also, too, the one that convicts him, right, if you will.
I mean, just to play devil's advocate here, because I'm 100% with you on this whole time thing.
Yeah.
You know, we talk about the business aspect and Tyrann, right? Because he talks about how, you know, it might have impacted, you know, kind of his enthusiasm on the field, like all the stuff that was going on behind the scenes.
Yeah.
But isn't that something that, you know, you can't let those outside factors, because you're still getting paid for that season, and that season is where you're at. You can't really be, and I guess, you know, it shows how honest he was in that interview, but like, you can't be letting those outs. I mean, you're a professional who's been doing this for 6-7+ years at this point, and you can't be letting that affect your play on the field. Where it's like, and I love that we said, I'm not the fastest guy, I'm not the biggest guy, and a lot of my thing is kind of having that enthusiasm, that little spunk, and you kind of didn't have that because of what was going on behind the scenes. Right.
Look, I get that. You can't let those things get to you, right? But sometimes they do. Yeah. Like I said, because we are human, and that's the reality of it. You know, it's one thing to be, you know, kind of, you know, turning your emotions off and whatnot. But a guy who is emotional, who's an emotional player, who's an emotional leader, that's part of who he is. And so, hey, man, he's going to feel. And sometimes we just can't help it. Hey, look, man, believe me being at my age, I've probably cried more than I've ever cried in my life because of things that touch me, because I'm able to take in some of the things and showing to me, because I'm secure in my manhood. I don't mind. Like, look, I know I love deep, I love hard, I love my kids. You know what I'm saying? Things like that I'm gonna be passionate about. So I had no problems with it. You know me, and I'm gonna feel like I'm a alpha guy anyway. And but hey, there's things that we had to deal with. It's, you know, we had to make decisions for our lives and for our families. And so he's making the decision for his life and his family, because he's one, you know, hey, man, this is my livelihood. And I want to be here. I want to keep playing, you know, because he talked about going into coaching after he gets finished playing. So you could tell like a guy cares about it. He cares, right? You now all of a sudden you're going to tell him don't care no more. You know, if that was him, he wouldn't be Tyrann. He wouldn't be Honey Badger, right? He wouldn't be that guy. So.
Honestly, any Chief fan anyone who's watching or listening to this, I suggest you go read this article. It's Kansas City Star, Sam McDowell,
great article.
It's an amazing article. It shows you how good of a guy he is, and it's like it's kind of a, you know. And I know you say this. It's like a lot of players feel this way about the teams they play for, but we don't see this raw emotion like that, because a lot of players don't want to admit some of the stuff he was saying. And it was honestly refreshing to see. And it's a guy who actually did care to play. He obviously loved Kansas City. He wanted to play. He was embedded in the community. He doesn't like moving. And that's one thing too. Like, a lot of people are like this. A lot of people are normal jobs. People don't want to move. They don't want to move. You know, like a company's going elsewhere. They're moving to a new city. Oh, I'm going to go find a new job in the same city because I don't want to move to the other city. It's like a lot of people don't want to do that. Normal people don't want to do that. And Tyrann doesn't want to go to another city. He was embedded here. He was happy here. It's refreshing to see that, you know, he took to Kansas City the way he did. And, you know, I don't know if this is going to happen or not, but I a 1-year deal, give the guy a 1-year deal, let him stay.
Hey, look, it could happen. Like we said, we know after the draft, you know, things can happen. And if he's a guy who's still available, it could definitely still happen. And so a guy that you know what you're going to get out of him, right? But maybe they was just like, look, we just can't meet, what your requirements, what you want from us financially. We're not going to meet that. And that's just reality of it. I was telling my brother this earlier. I said, sometimes what ends up happening and what you start realizing with some of these contracts, you almost start outpricing the market in a sense. And I've said this before. I said, what ends up happening, guys become a little bit more easy to get rid of, right? You become expendable because you're making so much money, and the teams don't want to invest in it. They don't want to pay it, and it's going to happen. We're going to look. This is how it's going to work in the draft. They're going to look for young guys. Young guys are coming in. They're talented. They're going to look at a veteran who's making all this money, who's going to be making all this money, and teams are making a decision like, we can't pay this guy. Let's get the young guy because it's going to be less money and we can get him for cheap. That's the business sense, right? And so, hey, man, I get it. From a guy who's as tough as they come, I eat glass, nails, and everything, right? Hey, man, I got a little tenderness to me. I don't mind it.
I think Coach Vermeil kind of rubbed off his soft spot on you guys. That.
Yeah, man. No, but hey, look. I look at it like this. God gave us emotions. Sometimes we suppress certain things, right? Some things we suppress. But a guy who's passionate, you don't want to suppress those things, right? And I think that's what he was kind of talking about, that he don't want to suppress how he feels he's passionate because he cares about his teammates, he cares about the team, he cares about the organization, he cares about the city and the fans. So that's what I boil it down to being.
No, yeah, and I hope Tyrann Mathieu gets as much money as he wants wherever he lands. I hope he can maybe he works out a deal and comes back to Kansas City because obviously he loved the city and he's done so much for the community.
Right. Everybody deserves that, man. Look, everybody, seriously, if you're at work and you feel like not being, respected or somebody is valuing what you do, right? Everybody has to think about a career move. Like, do I want to still stay in this thing or do I want to keep dealing with this thing over and over again? And if you go somewhere and, the passion ain't is there from the first day, to your last day, and you realize it, like, look, man, maybe it's time to move on.
And that's all about getting paid your worth and how you value yourself. And that leads us to our final topic of the night. So kind of in an off season where Devontae Adams wanted more money, Tyreek Hill wanted more money, these guys got traded, right? And another offensive weapon, Deebo Samuel, who arguably might be one of the best offensive weapons in the league. You can put him pretty much anywhere on the field. He's a different offensive weapon than Tyreek Hill, but I would say they're both up there as far as top offensive weapons. So recently he unfollowed the San Francisco 49ers on Instagram, got rid of every photo that he had with a 49er apparel. And then reports came out that he wants $25 million a year annually. And a guy like that, he definitely knows how much he's getting. His body's taking a beating, carrying the ball, catching the ball, returns, everythve he definitely knows his worth.
Right.
And he wants to get paid before, who knows what can happen with a guy who touches the ball as much as he does. We've seen the running backs who've had carries to, 300 carries and gotten hurt and, never were the same again. So he definitely wants to get paid before, God forbid, anything happens to him. But $25 million a year is what he reportedly wants annually. And so recently the 49ers have been actually hearing offers because they want to, if they are going to trade him, they want to haul a draft picks. Sound familiar?
Yes.
So the question is, and a report actually came out right before we got on the show tonight that one of DK Metcalf, Deebo Samuel, AJ Brown could be traded by draft night. One of them could be traded. So with Deebo Samuel, $25 million is in the ballpark of what we offer Tyreek Hill, which Tyreek Hill declined because he wanted to be the number one highest paid receiver. We didn't match that. So my question is, it's speculation. No one's linked us to Deebo Samuel at all, but speculation. We've talked on the show how we haven't spent really any money since we did the Tyreek Hill trade. And we were like, why is that? And we're talking about a need of a receiver. We might be drafting one in the first round. But let me put this to you, JD. Would you trade the picks that we got from the Miami Dolphins for Tyreek Hill? Would you trade those same picks and that same deal to the 49ers for Deebo Samuel, who is 2 years younger than Tyreek Hill, who will be paid less than Tyreek Hill, and is probably one of the most dynamic offensive weapons in the NFL right now. Would you trade the same picks that we got for Tyreek Hill? Essentially a Tyreek Hill for Deebo Samuel swap, essentially.
Right. Personally, I wouldn't. I wouldn't. I wouldn't.
Interesting. Why is that?
Yeah. We waited so long that now, because of the draft, I'm just looking at the flexibility of what the draft gives you with all these draft picks. Okay. And a guy that you had the same thing, $25 million a year for this guy. And the thing is, if you're talking about moving up and maybe getting a receiver, and look, we got some guys in the room, and you want to get a guy for a long-term deal. And the thing is, I like Deebo. He is absolutely a weapon, no doubt about it. And it's just me personally. That's my personal check. I'm sitting there thinking, okay, we got these draft picks for a reason. Okay, there are some things we have not moved on. Okay, there's needs that we have that we need to fill. And I think those draft picks will at least fill some of those holes. That's how I feel about it. And maybe weeks before the need for the player, maybe if it was thinking about it. But we're so close to this thing. All the picks for it, I don't know. And paying him $25 million, I don't know. To me, I'm like, hey man, look, just wait. Just wait. See what we got, who's going to be there. And then, we'll let just fall as they may. But I look, Deebo, without a doubt, is a talent. No doubt about it. I know they offered that to Tyreek. Tyreek has been here. We know what Tyreek can do. We know what Deebo can do. Different players, but I think the Chiefs at a certain point was like, when they said, hey, you know what? You want to go out here on the market? Go ahead. And I think it's in their thinking, they was like, look, we can wheel and deal in different ways where we're not giving up everything. I think we got a sweet deal, man, from the Dolphins. That's how I look at it. I know everybody does all the picks and this is how it's projected and it's really this pick. And look, you never know what you're going to get in the draft, right? It's kind of like one of those things, it's a crapshoot. But hey, look, you might find some really good guys. And I said, like right now where we have it, free agency addressed on the defensive side of the ball like we should have. And so I think we got to go and deal with that in the draft. I think we do. There's a lot of talk with different guys coming in. We were talking about Bradbury and all, those guys coming in. Well, here we are, a week and a half away from the draft. I don't know, man. This is me. Okay. You ask me, this is my answer. Everybody might disagree with me all they want to. That's why I didn't really like Cordell Patterson. He's a guy to me. I'm like, hey, I don't know. I'm good with that. That's just me. If that was I'm the guy making the decision, I'm like, look, let's just wait. Let's see what we can do. I don't know if we're gonna give up all the picks. Now we might do some willing and dealing, but let's make sure we get a deal. And I think they've been stingy enough all this time to say, let's wait for the draft. Because that's the way I look at it. So,
okay, so let's say draft night comes. Some of the guys we wanted aren't there. It kind of looks bleak at the edge, the receiver. It comes to our 29th pick.
Yeah.
You trade 29, one of the second rounders, and was the fourth, one of the fourth we got for Deebo. But the thing is, we still keep our first, we still keep our second.
Right.
We get Deebo potentially, let's say in this trade. Would you do that or no?
Yeah, and then you still got future drafts. Future picks that you could kind of will and deal away if you wanted to. Right. I don't know, man. I had to look at it. Yeah, and then look at it. What do you think? I don't know. So I like Deebo. I like Deebo.
Forget about the draft picks. Let's say we know we have Tyreek Hill on our roster. We know we can't sign him next year.
Yeah.
This whole Deebo thing plays out. Forget the draft picks. Swapping Deebo for Tyreek Hill. Where would you say that? Knowing 2 years younger, he's going to get paid a little less than what Tyreek Hill, a little less.
Yeah.
Would you do that still? No.
No, and here's why. Here's the reason why. Because of Deebo running the football puts more hits on him. Okay. I think Tyreek, and I'm just looking at his build and his makeup. I think he's a guy that could last a long time in this league because he didn't really take a whole lot of hits. He just doesn't. Tyreek, matter of fact, that's why he's able to maneuver around guys because he's like, I'm not going to get hit. You are not going to just tattoo on me like you want to. And so I think he played really intelligent. It's really headsy to not take the hits. And so I think Deebo, because, he's utilized so much in different ways that I don't know, it may catch up with him. Shelf life, man, for those guys, as a running back and a receiver and all of those, hey, it may not be long. That's why he wants the 25 now. And he deserves it. He deserves it without a doubt. He deserves that money. And I think it should be signed for it, So that swap, I don't know. 2 years younger, but hey, look, man, this thing is league. You never know how it's going to work out. So
yeah. It's a 2022 model, but it's got like 60,000 miles on it.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. It depends on what type of car you're riding too, right?
The Deebo thing, and what you're talking about with Tyreek Hill, I think that's what you pointed out. He has done a great job since he's transitioned over to being a full-time receiver. Mm-hmm. If you watch him his first 2 years, and then what he was this past year. When he gets to a situation where he's about to get tackled, he does a little juke and he goes out of bounds. I mean, he does a great job avoiding the hits or the unnecessary contact. He just goes out of bounds. I mean, you're prolonging your career with those unnecessary hits.
Hey, man, look, it's an executive decision, right? It's a career decision. I'm not going to get hit like that. I'm going to run out of bounds. I'm not going to do that. I need to last as long as I need to last in here to be effective for my team. And sometimes what you see when guys play hard and whatnot, that you start taking some bruises and some beating. We see it in different guys, and tight ends, running backs. Guy is starting to run the football, kind of a lot. It starts to take its toll on the body. So that's the reason I say that. But I like Deebo. Don't get me wrong. I like Deebo a lot. He's a heck of a player. I love to have him. The thing is, we won't pay that. A ticket and give, I don't know. Me personally, like I said right now.
Hypothetically though, how would he fit in this offense? Would he fit well in this offense?
That's the thing. I think he would. A guy like that, man, he'll fit anywhere. We're going to make it work. So we did that. Guess what? Tear the page out of the book. Let's start drawing some things up. And so you got masterminds back there, right? You got Reed, you got Bieniemy and Nagy, man, they'll figure it out. I would. I'm like, look, this guy's here. Now we know what we're going to start. We're going to start promoting this guy. We're going to have to. You ain't bring him here for him to be, just to look good. We paying him $25 million. We want him to play. So we're gonna feature this guy. So
if you're paying a guy $25 million, I think, not that I've read or anything, but with the Nair situation, they want to pay a guy who they're using as a battering ram all over the place, $25 million a year. I mean, it's like if you have that Lamborghini, that fancy Lamborghini, you're not gonna take it on a road trip somewhere. That's more of a Sunday. It's a nice breezy day, a nice warm day out. You're gonna take the Lamborghini out, top down. That's not the car you go on a road trip with.
No, we ain't going off road with this. We on the Autobahn. We going fast, right? That's what we doing. So hey, it doesn't make any sense to do that. So that's why to me it just makes sense. The reason, and I'm looking at it, it just kind of with a guy like Tyreek, because you know what he can do, and you know what he's doing in defenses. Hey, that guy to me, I like. I think guys like that. So, I mean, the question is, and really it boils down, who's the better player, right? Who's the better player? Who do you say is a better player between the two?
Between Tyreek and Deebo Samuel?
Yeah. No, hey, listen, it's your time, your opinion. Let me hear you. What do you got?
Think overall, as a football player, I would say Deebo Samuel, because you can line him up anywhere. Like you said, you can use him. He's an offensive weapon where you can line up anywhere. Yes, with Tyreek Hill, you can do that as well, and we've seen that in the backfield. But you can't you can put Deebo Samuel and he'd be a top 5 running back in this league. He's a top 5 receiver, based on what we've seen, the sample size of him run between the tackles, taking an outside jet sweeps, lining up as your X receiver, lining up as your slot receiver. I mean, you can use him all over the place. Yeah, you could do the same with Tyreek, but it's the other aspect of being able to run between the tackles with him, 4th and inches. The Niners are putting him back there and running trap power with him.
So, okay. And this is what I looked at. So to me, it's kind of it, and I know E was saying it's kind of gimmicky with a guy like that, right? How long is that going to last? Having him run between the tackles that way, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
that's the only thing with that, right? I mean, it looks good, and he's utilized this way for the time being to get what you want. How long is it going to be able to last in the league? Being that guy is the question. That's how I look at it. So.
Well, a guy like that, 5 to 8. Okay, let's say 5 to 8 carries a game from the tailback position.
Mm-hmm.
I think that would be enough. I mean, and that's the thing. We have let's say he was on the team. We have CEH, we have Ronald Jones now with this team. We don't really need to use him in the backfield that much. Maybe 3 to 5 carries a game, maybe just situationally. I mean,
I tell you what. If I'm a defensive coordinator, they give the ball to Deebo. Light his tail up. That's what I'd be like every time. You see this guy? He gets the ball, you light him up. He gonna tiptoe through the hole. Every chance you get. Hat on that, put your hats on him. We're gonna get him out of running the football. Yeah, that's how you do it. Lay it. We used to say Rydell Hammons, or that shut. Put that shut there Rydell on him. That'll soften him up a little bit. So that's how I look at it. That would be my philosophy. Like, look, we're going to do it. And, of course, Tyreek, you had to, adjust to the things he was doing. But, yeah, man, look, Deebo, without a doubt, man, is a talent. I love it. And a matter of fact, remember we had this conversation maybe a month or so ago about Tyreek. We was talking about, do you utilize Tyreek like Deebo? Well, no, they 2 different type of players. Now, jet sweeps and whatnot, reverses, makes sense, right? You definitely you want to outflank the defense, right? Get them to the outside. That's what you want to be able to do. Deebo has that skill set. He could get in between the tackles. That's fine. To me, shoot, I don't know. Is he going to be able to keep taking that type of punishment, right? So that's where I look at it. But man, he's a heck of a receiver. He can do it all. He can do it all. Swiss Army knife, man. He's got it. So,
and player comparison, the guy we talked about last week with the big hands, Treylon Burks, player comp, Deebo Samuel. So, and based on mock drafts, he might be at that pick. Based on a lot of mock drafts, he might be there at one of our 2 first-round picks. So,
right. So if you get him, then that Deebo, that's out the corner. Plus, you save money. You get more people. Money goes a longer way.
Yeah, for sure. What's funny about the Tyreek Hill, last thing on the Tyreek Hill Deebo thing, Coach McDaniels actually said 2 weeks ago they plan on using Tyreek Hill like Deebo Samuel. So I thought it was funny because we had that question, and he said they plan on using him like Deebo Samuel. So I'm very interested to see how they use him because, as we said, you can't run him between the tackles like Deebo Samuel.
Right. And the thing is, if they try it and they take a hit, they're going to realize they got $30-something million on the line, and then we're going to be like, look, we don't want to do this. But sure, we got Waddell and Hill. Let them torch defenses in a different way, okay? We pay running backs to do that. Let them guys tote it. Let them guys get it. So
they used to pay running backs like that, but not anymore.
Not anymore. But I look, if I know I got, like you said, a Ferrari, I ain't taking him. Hey, I ain't taking him off road. For what reason? Boom, 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 boom. Oh, no. Get out of the car, right? Hey.
It'll be interesting to see if they do it. Let's say San Francisco does pay him the $25 million. Are they good? I want to see how often they're going to put him in the backfield because they have Eli Mitchell, who looked amazing last year, was a steal in the 6th round.
Right.
But will they use him? Will they use him less in the backfield? They have to. $25 million a year.
Yeah, man. Listen, $25 million a year, and you just got to pick and choose when you're going to do it, right? But like you said, maybe the 8 or 9, trying to get to the playoffs and whatnot. Okay. Yeah. Hey, commodity, we're going to use you. But once you start seeing that $25 million is sitting over there and you you sitting over looking at your Ferrari and they throwing mud on it and you know, trying to take it through the heels. No. No, sir. Somebody better make an executive decision. We're not going to do that. Get him out the backfield. No, that's my money. Out of here. So.
Yeah, so it'll be interesting to see. I mean, it's like one of those things like, oh, it's not going to – like I feel like for the last like this up until this offseason in the NFL, this year's been the most like the NBA and the NFL season because in the past, like you always hear rumblings of guys, oh, he's unhappy, he wants out, and then they end up staying with the team. This year, it's every time it's like Devontae Adams, Tyreek Hill. They end up leaving their team, and Deebo's upset, and who knows, he could end up leaving the team. So I don't know. Never say never right now in the NFL anymore.
Shoot, brother, look, it's the same old story. Players want to get paid, and owners don't want to pay them. Bottom line, and that's what it is. And so now, if they get guys for cheaper, they're gonna try to do it. And yeah, look, guys put. You say stop. Isn't that the craziest part? Like, stop. You unfollow your team, take all your pictures and stuff down. I told you, man. It's like it's relationships, right? It's a relationship. It's a breakup. All of a sudden, you take your girlfriend's picture down, and you stop following their mom. Don't answer, the phone call. It's like, what's going on?
What was your version back in the day for you guys? What was your version of unfollowing the Instagram page for a team? Like, what?
Back in the day was guys just weren't calling back, or what they would do, they would change their number. So a team called, man, I thought his number was such and such. Well, he got a new phone, right? And so he had to go through the agent. Well, he got a new phone. Well, he's over here doing this. And so that was like, look, y'all handle that. Y'all handle that part of it. And then they would have, like, of course, the position coach or somebody trying to be in your ear, or the head coach call you, like, hey, man, what's going on? What's the deal? It's like, man, look, these contract mans are crazy. And right now, we're not really seeing eye to eye. Like, what's going on? But that's what I loved. What I loved about kind of back in that day is people kind of upfront a little bit more, like kind of going to the owner or the GM, like, look, man, like, what's going on, right? It wasn't always on, Twitter or social media, and it wasn't always that. There was always doom, knock on the door. Hey, what's happening? Tell me what's up. Talk to me. And that's how it was. I like business being done that way as opposed to the other way. You look at our ESPN and you've been traded. Like, what? Yeah, that's the crazy part. So
it's so simple now as far as like you can get your point across by unfollowing or unfriending. Yeah, right. But as you say, it's not really like this conversation. It's more passive aggressive.
Yeah. Without a doubt. Yeah, without a doubt.
Yeah, it's interesting. Yeah, that's funny. Changing numbers. That's a lot of work.
All right, I'm gonna change it. I'm getting a new phone. I just got a new phone. What? Oh yeah, true. Like, look, they could lose my number. We ain't close at all. So, yeah, man.
Funny. All right, well, guys, that does it for us. Thanks for tuning in to Chief Concerns presented by BetOnline. Next week, as we mentioned last week, we have a full-on mock draft show. We're going to have the head scouting director of NFL Draft Diamonds coming on. JD is going to go over his picks for the rounds 1 through 4, and then they're going to tell us give us the analysis on each player and if those players will still be around there and what other players could be on that same position, what could be in that based on their mocks and their analysis and scouting. So it's going to be a fun show. You ready to play Brett Veach next week?
I guess, man. It's all up in the air for me, so it don't even matter. So I could write up everything, and it could be thrown out the window, totally different. So yeah, man, I'm ready for it. So I hope everybody enjoys the show, man. It was good. It was good talk, good topic, kind of talking this week. And I like the response from other people. I think it's good to engage some of the guys and some of the the girls out there and the fans, man. So keep sending us, critiques, talks, conversations. We love it. We don't shy away from anything. It's always good. Let's have it.
Welcome it all. So we'll be seeing you guys on the internet in the comment section. We'll see you next week, everybody.